Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel on what could possibly be the busiest day for videos in the history of GBFC. So, make sure you're subscribed, turn on the bell notification button so that you do not miss anything. And the way this is going to work today is, the more you guys like the videos, the sooner I release the next one. So in this video today, we're going to be talking who is going to be the next Chelsea manager, and I'm going to identify the points that I think are the key ones for the new owners to employ the right person to make sure that we don't see what has just happened to Graham Potter happen again with another Chelsea manager. I also want to talk a little bit in this video about Todd Boehly's words and then the actions that we've seen since those words. And I want to ask for you guys' opinion on whether or not you still believe that Chelsea are going to be able to actually sanction an action this whole rebuild, new project, we want to be more sustainable, we don't want to hire and fire managers anymore. Is this ever going to work for Chelsea? Let me know in the comments down below. So, first things first, we need to identify some of the potential managers that Chelsea could have. The tier list video that I did with Eunice, where we foreshadowed this sacking about a month and a half ago, we didn't include Marco Silva in there, did we? The Fulham manager. He's not doing too bad. According to the Mirror, newspaper in the UK, not one of the more reputable ones, but the Mirror think that Marco Silva is emerging as a surprise candidate. Fabrizio Romano, that's a better source of information. He believes that Julian Nagelsmann is the number one choice for Chelsea. He's got members of the Chelsea board he's worked with before, Christopher Vivell, and he's also got admirers at Chelsea Football Club. But so does Maurizio Pochettino, which to me is one of those managers where I'm just like, absolutely not. You've then got two more managers who were fired last week. Antonio Conte, could he come back for round 2? And Brendan Rodgers of Leicester City, who to me has got to be the most underwhelming available manager on the market. Julian Nagelsmann is the current number one choice. You've then got some more exuberant, I would say, exciting potential managers, but are they managers for a project? Zidane, Hansi Flick, Luis Enrique. All three of those managers would see Chelsea probably use some of the wingers that we've bought, whereas Nagelsmann tends to go without wingers. There's a lot to discuss here. There's also the brilliant talent of Ruben Amorim, the Sporting Lisbon manager who's doing an incredible job there and is currently getting some super high plaudits across Europe for the work he's doing. So could Chelsea go down that path? There are so many different things to consider here, but first of all, let's talk a little bit about what Todd Boehly said when he first joined Chelsea and took over. He said that he wanted the club to be more sustainable. Didn't use these words, but what we took from this was, we don't want to just hire and fire managers anymore. We want to see a manager come in, a project manager, to allow Chelsea to coast in an upward trajectory and run the club differently. Let's be more sustainable. Let's not pay 20 million a season to fire a manager and hire someone new. Ironically now, that looks like a bit of a joke. We sacked Thomas Tuchel and Graham Potter within the same season with still a quarter of the season remaining. However, some people are taking this as Todd Boehly's not a man of his word. We need to be super careful. We do need to be careful, of course, with the way we perceive the actions and words of these new owners. However, I think this is just one of those freak incidents where Thomas Tuchel wasn't the right man. So Todd Boehly, Behdad Eghbali, they fired him. They didn't think that they were going to be able to work with Tuchel, which, to be fair, in hindsight, looking at what's happened at PSG, there was always going to be a cataclysmic failing there somewhere between communications and desires, wants, needs, whatever. Then you've got Graham Potter, who was incredibly highly sought after from Chelsea Football Club. People looked at Potter, the job he was doing at Brighton, and I think if ever there was a time to highlight the disparity between the biggest clubs and the clubs that are up and coming, it's right now. The way that you have to operate at Chelsea Football Club, the expectations are so sky high compared to what it was at Brighton, where every weekend that they spent in the top half of the table was almost like being in a Champions League spot. Now, they've elevated that even more, which, in perspective, has really shone a light on Graham Potter's managerial ability. Another manager who Chelsea could go for is the Brighton manager, De Zerbi. But would he want to come, having just seen what happened to Graham Potter, who leaves Brighton, and then this happens at Chelsea? Graham Potter's time at Chelsea, nobody wanted it to go this way. I think this is the craziest thing about this, is we can all criticise Graham Potter, which I think is rightly so. Some of the lineups have been beyond questionable. Substitutions, predictable, and Premier League clubs have caught up with Chelsea to the point where we're sinking into the bottom half of the Premier League table. And just luckily we have a point buffer over Crystal Palace, who are the best of the rest. So what does the next Chelsea manager need to do? What do the club need to do here? Because the big debate is, if you hire someone right now, then we can give everything to beat Real Madrid. If you don't hire someone right now, then you don't rush the process of who that next Chelsea manager is going to be. You could take the time, use Bruno as the interim head coach until the end of the season. But then, do you give yourself the best chance to go and beat Real Madrid? Chelsea won't get Champions League football from the Premier League, so do we need to hire someone today? Tomorrow? In which case, maybe we rush the whole process, and then at least we get to try and go at Real Madrid and hope to beat Pep or Tuchel, and then win a final against probably Napoli. The odds are so stacked against Chelsea finishing this season in a better frame of mind with success than we're in right now. That is the reality of this situation, but there is a possibility. Where do we sit with this? I think Chelsea do need to hire someone now, and I think maybe instead of going and changing everything immediately, trying to change the fabric and DNA of Chelsea from the first point, which we've clearly seen hasn't worked, to say that we want to stop being the hire and fire club, get a project manager in and back him to the hills, didn't work. So maybe this process of changing the fabric and DNA of Chelsea needs to be something with a bit more of a medium-term vision. Maybe we needed to see that Potter wasn't the right man. Have a manager now for 2 years who keeps that previous trend of Chelsea going, but at least he can implement and cement these new players into the team so that when the right project manager comes in, we're ready for it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, but I'm inclined to sway towards hiring a new manager now and giving Real Madrid the best shot we possibly can. This Real Madrid team are scintillating, fabulous, incredible at times. This Chelsea squad just needs a coach because we've got some incredibly talented players here. And if someone can come in and start to work immediately, it gives us the next 2 weeks, even though Real Madrid is literally 8 days away. Give someone a week to come in and try and implement some kind of ideas to a brilliantly talented bunch of players, and then just see why this decision to sack Graham Potter was vindicated. There is something massive that needs to happen in the summer, also with this manager. The squad clear-out is not a Graham Potter problem. The squad clear-out, or the desire and need to do a clear-out right now, has probably hindered Graham Potter's ability to perfectly manage this team. We've heard in the news in the past couple of months that Potter likes to do 11v11, but he needs to do 11v11v11 because the Chelsea squad is so big. So can he do exactly how he wants to train and get the best? No, maybe not. So you could say that Potter's unlucky in that sense, but a squad clear-out needs to happen. There needs to be a clear-out of players who don't really want to play for Chelsea. Some players that don't suit the Premier League, I'm talking here like your Hakim Ziyech, for example. Before it's too late and we can't get any money for this guy, sell him. If any manager doesn't want to use Trevor Chalobah, as much as I disagree with this, because I think Chalobah's a great defender, pure profit if we sell him. So sell him then. Instead of having lots of managers come in and then Trev plays well but then don't play again for 3 months, just sell him. It's as simple as that. The Chelsea squad is so bloated that whoever comes in needs to formulate exactly who they want and who they don't want immediately. It can't be we go through another transfer window, we go through another season, having too many players, and then dealing with squad unhappiness, dealing with player unrest, dealing with cliques forming in the dressing room where this guy ain't playing so he's disappointed. Chelsea need to sell, in my opinion, 8 or 9, maybe 10 players and bring in 3 high quality others. So that would see the squad diminish by about 6 to 7 players. But it's absolutely 100% necessary. The next thing that I think the next manager really needs to do, which really sets us up nicely for the videos for the rest of today, optimizing width on the field and wingers. Chelsea get the ball in wide areas so often, but it's always just inside the opposition's half. And then the closer we get to the penalty area, the closer we get to the byline, the more we look void and lacking of ideas. So whoever comes in next, we've got so many wingers at this football club. You've got Noni Madueke brought in. You've got Mykhailo Mudryk brought in. optimize these players. These players have got innate natural ability. They've got flair. They've got sparks. They've got energy. Optimize these players. Could that mean that Nagelsmann's the wrong man because he doesn't tend to use wingers? So many things to talk about here. The next thing that I think is incredibly important for the next Chelsea manager to do, sort out Mason Mount's contract. Whatever has been happening with Mason Mount, I don't think it had anything to do with Graham Potter. However, if Mason Mount does sign a new deal, which everyone is led to believe, Mount wants to stay at Chelsea. If this is the case, whoever is the next manager that comes in, I think it is 100% within their interest to use Mason Mount immediately. Get him back on the field. Mason Mount, yes, a lot of people have given up on him now because he's had a bad year. Before that, we're talking 2 Player of the Years in a row. Incredible player for Chelsea Football Club. And I think a lot of people have forgotten just how good he once was. And still, we're talking about potential. He's still young. Yeah, he's not the youngest anymore. But get the best out of him. If he wants to stay at Chelsea, Chelsea need to keep players who represent the DNA and the fabric of Chelsea Football Club. Reece James and Mason Mount are currently the face of Chelsea. And at the moment, Mason Mount is a shadow of his former self, but he's still a fabulous footballer. So secure a new deal for him. Utilise him. Maybe at the moment, it's so hard to think positively about how this Chelsea team turn it around, but genuinely, as much as I don't want to disrespect Graham Potter as a bloke too much, because he does seem like a decent guy. He really does, and I don't want to sound like I'm being too soft here. But at the end of the day, it is alarming the level that Chelsea need to be able to operate at the level that we all expect and that Chelsea want to be at. You can't just hire a manager who has got good ideas. That's not enough. Chelsea Football Club, with this squad of players, needs someone who can not only manage the players and keep them happy, but order them around as well. And that is why I like De Zerbi from Brighton, because if you don't like his way, get out then. Go train with the reserves. Go over there and sit in the corner and cry until you're sold. And I think that is exactly what Chelsea need. We need someone with a bit of anger. And I know it's kind of unfair on Potter because that's just not his nature. And he does conduct himself in a very professional manner. And he always came across well. But you need an edge. When Chelsea are in the position they're in, need to be competing at a higher level, you need an edge. And whoever the next Chelsea manager is, that is what success has been built on in the past. Look at Tuchel. Look at Conte. Look at Mourinho. Look at Ancelotti. These managers have all got a side that players are desperate to impress. Were players desperate to impress Potter? I don't know. And I think it is key that the next manager has that aura about him to demand more from this Chelsea team because the talent is there. So, be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. This is the first video of maybe 3 or 4 today on GBFC, as well as a Liverpool preview. So stay tuned, subscribe if you are new, keep hitting the like button, and I will keep posting videos for you. I'm doing a ton of research about managers, the way we could play, the way we could line up, and will it work? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Come on, you Blues.